So anyway, I just want to bring up next Brian Tracy. He's a legend in the speaking industry. How many of you have read one of Brian's books or heard Brian speak? He speaks to 250,000 people a year. He's a true professional, phenomenal. I think it's like 40 audio programs. He cranks out a book every quarter. If there's someone that knows about productivity and effectiveness, it is Brian Tracy. Has it been 32 years married? 4 children. He's a very handsome man. He actually said the Super Bowl is a big waste of time because I said, hey, let's go hang out at the Super Bowl. So anyway, let's give it up for Mr. Brian Tracy. Come on, everyone, let's give it up for Mr. Brian Tracy. Big film some love. Thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Many people in this room have doubled their income in the last 12 months, and many people are going to double their income in the next 12 months. And if they are, you might as well be one of them, and my job is to help you do it. Is that a good goal for today? And when I started off from very humble beginnings, I started asking the question in my early 20s, which changed my whole life. And the question was, why is it that some people are more successful than others? And that's what I have pursued, sort of like a quest for all these years. Looking for the reason, and I found many reasons, internal reasons, psychological reasons, spiritual reasons, but then I stumbled across time management as one of the reasons. And what I found is that all successful people are described in the surveys, in studies, and by their peers as being very highly productive. They're very highly productive. They get a lot of results. Now, a wise man once told me, he said, if you want to earn more money, you must become more productive. It's as simple as that. The way that you help the poor people is you help poor people to become more productive. The way you help veterans is you help them to become more productive. Because in our society, a meritocracy, we are rewarded on the basis of the contribution that we make, of the value that we create for other people. I sometimes will ask as an opening question, what is your most valuable financial asset? And after people have thought about it for a while, I say your most valuable financial asset is your earning ability. It is your ability to earn money. It's your ability to apply this fabulous mind that you have to your world to create value that people will pay you for. And so your earning ability is actually defined in my definition as your ability to get results that people value. And if you can double your ability to get results, then the income just has to follow as the night of the day. Now, as I said, many people here are going to double their income in the next 12 months or even faster. I've worked now with thousands of people who, as a result of some of these ideas, I will quickly share with you, very simple ideas. All true ideas, by the way, turn out to be very simple. They've doubled their income in 30 days after working in their field for 10 or 20 years, just simply by just changing the things that they do. Now, one of the great concepts which you've heard, which I stand in awe of it because it's the essence of all spiritual development, is that you become what you think about most of the time. You become what you think about most of the time because you always act on the basis of what you think. And therefore, if you change your thinking about any part of your life, you actually change your life in that area. Now, Josh Billings, the comic once said, it ain't what a man knows what hurts him, it's what he knows what ain't true. And many of us have ideas about time, what ain't true. And as a result, if we believe that they're true, if we think about them as being true, then we will act on the basis of them being true. And the old saying, the more you do of what you're doing, the more you get of what you've got. So the only way that you can get different results than you're getting today is by doing something different. So when I think about this, I realized as I began to teach coaching programs year after year after year, I'd bring entrepreneurs into the program, and I would say, if you come and work with me for a year, I'll show you how to double your income and double your time off. My success rate is about 99%. Very, very high success rate, and many people did it very much faster than a year. And in the first part of the program, I would teach them there's only 4 ways to change your life. You can do more of some things, you can do less of other things, you can start doing something that you're not doing today, or you can stop doing certain things altogether. Those are the only 4 ways that you can change or improve any part of your life. So I always say, whenever you're frustrated or anything, say, what do I need to start doing, or sort of stop doing, or do more of, less of, start or stop. More of, less of, start or stop. And it's always the question. And your ability to choose the correct answer to those determines your entire life. It determines the entire success of your life. So here's the first rule. I'm going to give you just some quick rules. And rule number 1 is you cannot be more successful by doing more things. You cannot move ahead by doing more things. And you've got to be very alert to this, because when I sit here taking notes, I'm really excited about all the neat things that we could do. And I could do this, and I could do that, I could do this. And you sit at the tables and, oh my God, your pen is burning because there's so many great things you could do. Stop the clock. Whoop. You cannot be more successful by doing more things. You can only be successful by doing fewer things, by stopping doing things. That's why the first thing you do at the beginning of each day or each process is you need a to-do list and you need a not-to-do list. You need a to-do list and a not-to-do list. And what are the things that you don't do? You don't do things of low value so that you have more time to do the few things that count. Which brings us to a very interesting thinking tool. And remember, the way that you think determines the quality of your life. It's my favorite of all thinking tools. I'll give you 2 or 3 of them. But it's what I call zero-based thinking. And zero-based thinking comes from accounting, where you draw a line under your previous finances, and as you do a new financial projection for a coming quarter or year, you ask yourself this question: knowing what I now know, is there anything that I am doing today that I would not start up again if I had to do it over today? Now, this is a real hard question, and it takes what I call the C word, and the C word is courage. It takes tremendous courage for you to ask that question on a go-forward basis. And when I learned the question, I thought, wow, because there's 3 areas of your life where you apply zero-based thinking. Number 1 has to do with your relationships: personal, business, close to you, distant relationships, partnerships, and so on. Ask yourself, is there any relationship in my life that, knowing what I now know, I would not get into again today if I had to do it over? And there's a lot of people, we get real uncomfortable when we hear that, because there's a lot of us who are in bad relationships, personal or business. I've had many people, I don't even like to say I encouraged it, walk out of marriages, walk out of long-term relationships, break off partnerships, get out of business deals, walk away from jobs, because they said, absolutely not. Knowing what I now know, there's no way that I would get into this relationship. But here's the great rule, is that if you have a situation like this, it's usually right in the center of your life. And how do you tell if you're in a zero-based thinking situation? Very simple: stress. It's chronic stress. It's something that bothers you. You think about it. It's like a bad tooth. It hurts all the time. You think about it when you get up. You think about it when you're driving along. You talk about it at home. It keeps you awake at night, makes you angry, and so on. Does anybody know what I'm talking about here? Yes. Yeah. And so what you have to do is saying, if I was not now in this relationship, knowing what I now know, would I get into it? And I call this a quink analysis. And what you do is you do a quink analysis, K-W-I-N-K, knowing what I now know, and you quink analysis every part of your life where you're experiencing any stress. And the wonderful thing is, if you have courage combined with honesty, then what you'll do is you'll admit, yes, knowing what I now know, I would not get into this situation. Then your next question is, how do I get out and how fast?